Hey guys, it's Wednesday, or Thursday, maybe even Friday, or Monday and Tuesday if you're doing this in another week. I don't know. But we are at the end. This is my last video that I'm going to make for this writing project. So, I'm not going to take a lot of your time. All I want to do is quickly show you a very, very short teaching point. A few quick examples, and then quickly go through the should, would, could chart. Alright? Because this is the fun part. Alright? So, I just realized I said alright like 3 times in a weird voice. So, I'm not going to stop and redo it. Here we go. Last learning target of this unit. Writers add more nonfiction text features to complete their book. Yes! We can do that by adding a cover page to attract readers and protect the book, table of contents to preview topics inside, maybe even about the author, glossary of important terms, and back cover of summary. So, I'm going to quickly show you the things that you must have, the should, by pulling out my 4th grade California report that I showed during another video. So this is one example of a cover, okay? You can see I just typed a title for my project. I printed some pictures that had to do with my topic. So remember, this was all about California, so that's why I have different things. If I was doing one for the example that I did teaching this entire unit, it would be more specific to the gold rush. Another example is of this book. Our student Naomi, that we use as student example throughout this unit, she wrote about the Revolutionary War. So here's another example of a cover. So you can see there's a famous painting or drawing that comes from the Revolutionary War period. And it has the author's name, okay? And it even says, bringing history to life. So create a fun title and your name. You'll notice on mine, my name is not on the front. Don't be like Miss Williamson. Put your name on it. We want you to be proud of it. Oh, it's on the side there. There it is. Caitlin Sample. That's my old last name. So, title cover with, it doesn't have to have a picture if you don't want it to. Could be fun. Could be pictures you researched on the internet. Could be a picture you drew. Make it your own. And then you need to have a table of contents. So, I'm going to open this up, and here is an example of a table of contents. Okay. Because this really helps your readers get a preview of what is in your book. Okay, so this one, you'll see it's a little bit fancy with the page numbers, which you do not have to do, but I wrote the table of contents on the top so my readers know that this is where they can find information. And then these are like the pages that you'll find those things. So, my big topics or my chapters are these ones in all caps. So I have a section on history, I have a section on climate and geography, industries, and cities. Okay, so those for you might be people of the gold rush, or all about the gold rush, or boom towns. If you want to include your subsections under here, like if I was making one about people of the gold rush, I might have that as my big subtopic, and then underneath I could write little 1, 2, 3, 4 like I did here, and be oh, John Sutter, women of the gold rush, Chinese immigrants, just so you can kind of preview what is there. And then, let's see if that other book I just had should have an example of table of contents as well. Not all nonfiction texts have a table of contents, but I think it's a really easy thing that we can add that makes it a little bit more clear. So you can see this is the table of contents, so it's a little bit different style in this book about the Revolutionary War. So all they included was just chapter 1 and then the title, chapter 2 and the title, okay? And then they had some fun features on the bottom, and I will go through those in our should, would, could chart because I did want to offer some other ideas in case you wanted to add some other features. So this is another example of how you could lay out your table of contents, okay? So you can just do chapters, subheadings, all those things. And you don't have to put the page numbers, but they could be helpful if you wanted to add those to your paper copy or your Google Doc copy. All right, so let me quickly walk through the should, would, could chart, and then I'll be done. Okay, so here is our should, could, would chart for Wednesday, Thursday. Our last should, could, would chart for this project. Exciting stuff. Well, it says it right here. Last assignment for this book. Woo! So we already went over the cover and the table of contents, so there's a little bit more details there. So here's some things you could add if you had more time and wanted to. You could add page numbers to your table of contents and book to make it even fancier. You could add a dedication page after your table of contents that you oftentimes will find in books. I don't think there's one in this example, but a lot of times you'll see a book be like dedicated, to my father who inspired me to write this book. It could be something little like that. Maybe you want to dedicate it to your class or to your pet. Just a fun little thing you could add if you wanted. You could even also add an about the author. I love these sections. My report doesn't have it, but I love books. Ooh, there's one in this book right here about the author. Just a little blurb on the back with a little photo. And it says, Josh Gregory received a BA in English at the University of Missouri, Columbia. He lives in Chicago, Illinois. And I've seen my students write fun little about the authors in previous publishings. And it's just fun to include little fun facts about yourself if you would like. And then some would, so if you want more fun features in your amazing nonfiction text, you could add a glossary that lists important terms and definitions. And all of these things typically go at the back of the book. So if you're wanting to add any of these extra things, I would highly recommend adding these features. And if you're interested in adding these features, I would possibly do these things first before you create your table of contents. Because if you have a glossary, if you have a timeline, you want to highlight those in your table of contents, which I'll show in this example after I go through this chart. And then you could also create a back cover for your book. We'd always talk about the front cover, but we don't really talk about the back cover. And I think that's something fun that we could add to this project if you're interested, especially if you wanted to print it out of your Google Docs and staple it together on your own. Because this gives a nice little blurb about what the book is and gets you excited to read it. And then another thing you could add is a random fun facts page to include some random facts that maybe you researched but didn't have a perfect place for them. And you might be like, hey, I have some other ideas. Maybe you want to add a timeline or those. I'll quickly show you some of the features in the back of this book in case you want some more ideas for inspiration. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to highlight again was in the table of contents and how it shows the different features on the bottom. So it has all my chapters, but then we can see it includes a influential individual section, a timeline, living history, resources, glossary, index about the author. So that's a lot of features. So I'm going to quickly highlight a few of them so you can get some ideas. So I'm going to turn to page 56 because that's where it starts. So if I flip back to here, so I kind of just have a quick list of some individuals that maybe they didn't get to go in depth in their chapter book. So just gives a little when they were born, when they died, and just a little blurb about who they were. Just really short and sweet. So you could do that if you wanted. Here's another section with a timeline. I think this is something really cool that you could draw out. So you can notice they don't have every single date, but they kind of highlight some important dates and things, events that happen. So I see the Stamp Act passed, the Boston Massacre, the Boston Tea Party. So really just including events that are within your topic could be a cool feature to add if you were interested. I'm not really sure what the living history is. Oh, these are primary sources. So these are kind of the resources that they use to do their project. You could do this. This is definitely a skill you will dig deeper into as you move into 5th grade and other grade levels. So I wouldn't really worry about this if it seems a little intimidating, because it is I'm not going to do a whole lesson about how to do this because it's a little complicated and not a 4th grade standard, but you'll learn more about how to do that in 5th grade. And then a glossary. So we know that that's where you learn about certain words that come up in the book that might be important, and it shows you not only how to pronounce them, but it also gives you a definition of that word. So those are just some fun little features that you could also include in your book. So that's about it. So the things you must do is at least a front cover and a table of contents. And then remember, if you're wanting to add any of those extra features at the end of it, I would recommend doing that first before you make your table of contents So that way you could include it within that on the bottom. So I'm so excited to see the finished projects. Remember, you can still work on it past this week if you need to. We hope that you'll be ready to share if you chose to participate in this project during the last week of school. Good luck, guys. So proud of you.